and just good old reliable, honest to God Valorant, Mitch. None of that Vice Sage that YFP were running because, well, probably just wasn't that good. They lost to Envy. Even though they picked the map, they only got 5 rounds. I'm not going to lie, I was hoping to see it again against a different team, but I understand why they want to just go back to the default stuff. This is a team that have been playing together with some mix of these players for what feels like ages at this point. They're going to have the chemistry with something standard like this for sure.
Feels like that might just be what they're trying to lean into a little more here, as Penny's already about an early foray down towards sewers. And Ambrosia getting a little exploratory there. There's an extra player drawn across onto this side of the map. Penny's doing a lot of work to rattle the cage here. And there's an drone simultaneously making its slow way down towards the seaside.
Ambrosia want to try and re-clear sewer on that A side as Shandex gets the tag from the camera. Going to double face back towards C. Don't spot a thing. And that's actually going to give Ambrosia the inclination to leave C. The A is actually going to be where things are finishing. But at the moment, YFP are taking their sweet time.
This is after an drone was spotted coming towards the seaside for Ambrosia, but wasn't enough to convince them that there'd actually be a play to that part of the map. And they've made the right choice here. Eventually, the rest of YFP going to link up now with Penny, who hasn't made any noise outside of that first engagement at the start of the round, but they've seen something they don't like, Wyatt. It's a big swing away from the A side now, as C is very much secured. As you can see, B-Dog's playing up there by logs, and that's where YFP have got to end.
This is a bizarre situation. It doesn't look like Ambrosia will be in a position to flood and take advantage of the fact that time has gotten so low. They've only got 2 players here and 1 shock dart to get some damage. Okay, cool, but they really overread the situation stacking A and have got themselves in an awkward 4 versus 5 retake.
Turning in towards Garage now. This seems very standard here for Ambrosia, but they're just going to have to throw down with YFP at a player advantage. Very much entrenched on the C side, and there's a late re-hit over towards Garage that threatens to punish any player that tries to take that map control on the defender side. Here's the triple jump into the smoke. Stella hardly blinks there. Well, he has to try and make his way through, and it's not to be. An interesting commitment of resources by Ambrosia over towards that A side.
I got your back.
It's just on the fact that Shandex got that cam tag and then they double swing long. They don't see anything. Penny had gotten that presence on A. Surely they're hitting over on that side of the map. Let's go run over there. And it just didn't end up happening. YFP were able to contact them to see. And they closed things out with a nice little micro play towards the end. There was that entry. But yeah, in this moment, the dark cover comes down. And just before it did, there was a flash sent out by B-Dog. They double stack in here together. Some good fundamental play to kick things off.
Oh, well, maybe not expecting there to be such fast contact over towards the A side of the map. He's a little ahead of the game and the only player for Ambrosia on that side of the map. And of course, B-Dog is able to sing out with the Outlaw. Now, it's virtually elementary. At this point, Ambrosia might even just be priced into trying to die to the spike. It's an attempt to retake one of the hardest sites in the game to retake with nothing but the 1 sheriff for satellite. The deck is stacked against them.
Trying to see if they want to beat the timing to get in, but they can't. The dark cover does go down, and a bit of spam connects on to Shandex. Penny hunting for more, wants to get as many kills as he can with that stinger.
Trying to get old orbs at this point. Ambrosia know it. They know that there's no point really attempting to make a play for this, so they'll back off of it. And we liked their last outing on this map, right? Ambrosia took on Burger Boys not so long ago with that neon composition in the upper quarters. Now, they fell in that series, but definitely gave a great account of themselves. I think for YFP, the story of just their stage 2 in general wide is kind of wild, considering they really limped into playoffs at 4 and 3, right? I think they pick up that W at the last possible opportunity to qualify. Now, with the quality on this roster, the fact that they've stepped onto a VCT America stage and won there, it's kind of wild what this team's been able to achieve just as a unit.
And because of that, it was so surprising to me that their stage 1 was very lackluster, finishing in 9th through 11th place. That is just not a placement that you see these experienced, tenured players finishing in. This stage seems a lot more like themselves, honestly, and bringing in B-Dog after his departure from M80 has certainly helped. And he brings even more chemistry with these guys as well, just the ex-Turtle Troop players together, etc. But here's the chance for Ambrosia to get on the board with their first buy round.
Trying to get a capture of the fault line. A very hasty teleport out though by Glyph. And not a moment too soon as the hail of bullets starts coming through the masonry. This is actually drawn Ambrosia. Look how far forward they're drawn on the seaside. They might actually try and re-clear Garage with 3. That would give away a huge amount of information were they to do that. So they try and be quiet about it. B-Dog not punished there, despite having the incorrect crosshair placement, pardon me. It's Satellite expecting to be tested in a moment. He's not half wrong. Dark cover comes up. He'll tuck here by the doorway. YFP are not committed by any stretch of the imagination. This is an interesting encounter now as Welly deals with Thief, and there was the additional player of Stella not in a position to trade.
No, not using anything to try to get back into long either, just hoping that that space could be garnered via a contact push. There was no drone, no flash. Here's Penny into the site. Satellite still tucked in that corner. Rapid trade from Jake, backs off, stays alive.
At one point, at some point, Stella's util has to be used to try and allow YFP to make an informed decision about how they push it. But they're contacting everything. Stella has a pocket full of util. Simply wants to walk up over onto that A site, see what there is to be found. And that's probably the third consecutive time this round that a YFP player has done that same thing. Just less excusable maybe when an initiator is doing it. Time is short now. Welly just finds the timing of his own to emerge from the smoke. And B-Dog, it's a lackadaisical effort there at the end of the round.
Going for a miracle. That outlaw was destined to fail in that little round 3, if we're being honest. Everybody had full armor on the Ambrosia side. Was lucky to even find one player that got tagged up a little bit. It was a pretty solid buy, all things considered, for a bonus round from YFP, but just kind of haphazard take of space, or rather an attempt to take the space. They didn't get it. Just no util behind it. Some pretty free kills for Ambrosia to win that crucial anti-bonus.
They're off the rip here. Satellite wants to push straight over towards the A side of the map. Very, very deep. And the smoke started to play off that, so Penny is definitely going to be forced off this particular extremity. This is going to free things up a little bit more for Ambrosia. That brings the breach and the omen back over towards the C side of the map. They're going to have to be quick about it because YFP are responding rapidly by trying to hit this C site. Shondek shows himself, not really, just kind of gives away his position, and it's all Penny needs to take him down, trying to clear the trap wire. Now YFP are in a position to nip at the heels. Acrian's trying to make his way around, but that cyber cage makes things a little bit uncomfortable for Satellite. And in a player advantage, make it even. YFP get the plant.
Oh, but now there's some garage control taken from Acrian. Well, actually not taken. A concern now even on a flank coming through that B side, but it's all of the YFP players stacked up on the site. They want to play crossfires. Double stun is perfect.
Out goes Satellite walking up. Big ping on the site. They see so much. 2 YFP players, neither of them interested in shooting the recon apparently. And Ambrosia end up making a retake where they were initially in a 3 versus 4 scenario. YFP, after getting shoved off the A side, had a great little ping pong towards C, and they were quick about it. Got a plant down, and then were just taken apart.
It seemed like there was a push that came through garage a little bit too early, perhaps from B-Dog wanting to flank. Was caught out by Acrian. I think maybe that recon came in just at the last moment before the stun actually expired, so they weren't able to break it, but regardless, the stun was placed perfectly, recon placed perfectly. Excellent retake, has YFP economically on the back foot. A lot of stingers to maybe attempt to go for a rush, fight close quarters somewhere like garage.
Glyph here could always TP out should he need to. Dangerous fight to take there against the Stingers. Glyph does escape. Goes low. Trapwires, 2 of them laid up there. Eventually they're cleared out, and once more YFP know they need to close the gap. They need to get up on this C site. It's a brave decision for Shondek to anchor here against all of these Stingers, and now he's shown himself. Aftershot's going to force them out of position. It's getting a little uncomfortable for the Cypher. And Stella's able to pick him up. Acrian found that Aftershock kill on B-Dog. And Ambrosia lost 3 in this round. A round I really would have liked for it to have been a bit more cost-effective. Jake lit on the side. Here's Stella now from C-Long. That is ridiculous stuff for YFP. A classic Challengers stinger buy. Something that Ambrosia just can't deny.
They lose the first player as well. Penny couldn't even convert that first kill. The aim was a little rough from Glyph. He escapes. But it's after that, Shondek's getting in backside off the double cage. I liked that decision. They are able to maintain all of that back sight control, but where were the teammates? Who was coming in to help? They just weren't flooding in fast enough to support.
A smoked up backside, which is, again, understandable. but kept it bay by the looks of things by that util. Ambrosia at least give themselves the anchor ability there with a better weapon, but it's just not enough.
Maybe that was Glyph dying through the smoke because he was weak. But the other guys, I don't know. It just seemed like that they were a little bit slow trying to get into backside. I think Shondex played that perfectly fine, but was unfortunately hung out to dry. And it's gotten YFP in a great economic position now. They can force Ambrosia onto an eco. This is a round worth 2 if they can win it.
Already pretty deep penetration towards the seaside. Shondex not playing that part of the map, but Satellite just peers in. That is massive. Cloud bursts himself away. Backside gets smoked anyway by YFP as they just want to get this plant down, but it's a bit uncomfortable. Penny has a Blade Storm and Stinger, so he'll probably play close here towards the backside. And B-Dog's in such an important position. Well, he's able to trade out, but took a bunch of damage in that exchange, and Jake is ready to handle him. Penny's Blade Storm finally gets some value for him. And now Ambrosia are kind of corralled into the middle part of the map. That snappy shooting from Jake. And Shondex can't get into the site early, has to allow for the plant to go down. Now the Guardian has to salvage things here for Ambrosia.
YFP team are on multiple different angles, can swing at any given moment. Shondex knows that this situation is cooked, and Jake even wants to just steal this Guardian away, and it looks like he will do so successfully. Going to ignore the op, thinks about it, but just wants to stick to the rifles. I really like how YFP played that post plant. They were down a player, so they tried to take the timings, catch off Ambrosia, and it was really off of B-Dog in this position. He takes that fight, he gets traded out, sure, but then at the same time, when this chaos is happening towards Garage, Penny took advantage, pushed through spawn, caught out Satellite, got rid of the Opera, and then you have Jake finding a lovely 2-piece, sitting at a cool 9-3 early in the game. Really well played. YFP looking hot so far.
YFP. Acreon has one himself. Slow around here for YFP. They're obviously anticipating a bit of an awkward buy for Ambrosia. They don't really know what that's going to consist of. So more of a default approach to the round. That's a garage smoke. And Satellite thinks he has a gap in this kind of setup. The other B-Dog looking in his direction here, pretty low, but timing might not be there, excuse me. Thief also can't activate here. In mid-window, the smoke by Glyph that sort of allows Satellite to slink away means that that's an unanswered kill.
YFP are going to try to get some space towards A long in the meantime. Smoke down for Heaven. Paranoia comes through. This is so divided. The spike is actually getting into the site on A. They've got 2 players on C right now, going through the C site, and they're going to drag everyone away to teleport to C. This is a mental call from YFP. Shondex, that is a crucial kill, however.
Spike planted.
Yeah, especially now with Penny, who has to just use his legs to get across the map. Can't just TP to A, to C rather. And he'll set up for that C long position. But you got to believe it's Stella, who's in a crucial spot. Neural theft, little bit of an issue now for YFP. There's nothing really special to give away. Rolling Thunder comes in. They know where the defenders are, and they're going to come for it. Stella's having to deal with a Satellite. Somehow able to avoid the Rolling Thunder, as it seems. He's found himself 3. Glitch spotted out, tucked in the corner. That's all the info Jake needed. But it's just a wealth of plays for Ambrosia. Shondex finding that pick just as YFP get the plant down really paves the way for the retake.
He absolutely saved Ambrosia on this round. What a pick to find to get them into the 5-on-3. Bear in mind, he was one of the only players that had a real weapon. Most of those Ambrosia players had pistols. A 5-on-4 though, that would have been very tough to deal with. But catching out Thief, having the neural theft, excellent stuff. What an attempt from Stella. I mean, the shot on the Satellite mid-air looked so sick. But it just ultimately does not matter. Already a couple half-buy, sort of thrifty rounds won by either side.
I thought Rolling Thunder also committed to supplement the thrifty round there for Ambrosia. End up getting top dollar for it. That is beautiful stuff from Welly. Just off the rip, Jake taken down by that Hunter's Fury. Penny knows he needs to activate here. Does he know there's a player in the corner? Satellite, I think he missed the op shot. Over to the shorty now, but Penny knows all too well that he's waiting for him. Acreon finds the timing, and okay, Satellite had the op in hand. Apparently, Penny not able to get the better of him. Didn't have a way either to get out of that spot. He was fully committed to A.
So brutal. Oh my god, that is dastardly. Not the cam check. The second Thief walks through. Oh my god, that is so tough, man. That is, I mean, if we go to the Shondex cam and there's a fist-sized hole through his monitor, do not be surprised. That's so tough, man.
They've got 140s too. Just a hair's breadth away from being taken down. This timing is pretty spectacular from Thief. Some sound is going to be made here, and he's making his way back through Garage. I just don't think Ambrosia can account for that wrap coming through, and they have no information about the site setup. Stellar Trades goes down. Remember, it's only 10 health here for Thief, but Akrian has no idea where he is. Thief really just gets everything he wants in that round. An important clutch here as both teams are still fighting to stabilize. YFP get out, another in front.
What a timing for Thief to take that little peek as well. The second it gets tapped, jiggles out, instant headshot. He is sharp with the aim. Really always has been. That's one of the best aspects of him as a player. But frankly, that round comes down to that timing. It genuinely does. That is beyond brutal, and it's got Ambrosia now on an eco.
YFP still haven't really found a use case for that Rolling Thunder. I think this is the third consecutive round they've held onto it. And they got, once again, this is the anti-eco protocol, right, for YFP. Play it slow. Try and drone check these corners into C, but Penny's actually pretty close behind it, and he has already snuck in.
Yeah, avoids that paranoia. Good recon as well.
Okay, we are tailwinding forward in the direction of Shondex. Penny wants to try and cloudburst his way through. Akrian spotted him. Oh, that is clean. Just as Glyph tries to swing on him, he is handled. And it's up to the two sheriffs, Welly and Satellite, with it all to do, coming from very different directions, and a cheeky little omen smoke there towards Garage side. God, for the bank, this would be unbelievably good for YFP at this point in the game. 6 attack rounds to their name. Potentially a flawless round just to make the buys for the rest of the half easier. That will be tough for Ambrosia to come back from.
I love how Penny plays that situation. It's so excellent. He gets that snap kill onto Shondex. It's obvious for the player's backside that he knew were there if he swings from the left side of default, so he tries to go forward, is able to dodge the util, get in the cloud burst. The rest of the team are scaling up while he's causing a distraction there.
Okay, Phantoms just spraying away. Satellite knows he's not really got a whole lot to do here except try to play for a singular exit. Again, anything he can do to try and keep this YFP economy remotely honest, especially with Stellar Jake and Thief not in rebuy situations. It turns out to be the former that gets brought down. So one gun taken away, but YFP, outside of that, feeling pretty good with both their initiator ultimates ready to launch.
There have been so many rounds now for YFP that they've been able to just walk all the way up C long and into C, that they're continuing to try to exploit that. I look at the position that Penny is able to just walk into off the drone. No one's swinging into him. Not contested until he gets all the way up here. Oh, the movement there is so good.
So they're trying to play off contact, but I think it's just like a unlucky. It's like a sound cue that the defenders at C are trying to play off of. I don't know if the Cypher Cam is getting value there because they're not seeing Penny just straight up walk onto the site.
They might also be hoping that he'll continue to contact push all the way through like YFP have been before. So maybe they're trying to exploit that, seeing if they'll over push and walk into the player that's holding back default.
Well, they have two default, one back side. Like it's very heavily stacked, but they're purely playing off sound cues. But when you have those like brazen and a little bit abnormal walk up there from Penny, then he gets in for free. But there's an owl drone, right, that YFP are looking to play off of, and that's obviously giving Ambrosia plenty of sound. They do paranoia off that cue, but I mean Penny is so far forward. He's not affected by the paranoia whatsoever. And Shondex is not ready. Like, he walks past default and has to, like, make a reticle adjustment to try and fight.
So, like, pushed up, but just punished straight away. And YFP are content to now give up A main after finding that advantage. It looks like they just want to speed over to that C side of the map. They've obviously felt the presence of multiple Ambrosia players. They think they can get here for free, but Ambrosia want to flood in.
He's trying to respond here. Just as the smoke blooms, he's able to bring Penny down. The Hunter's Fury come out. Looks like there's not really been a whole lot that's been able to be found off that. Akrian, though, while he tries to rotate, is caught midway through by B-Dog, who has that dirty little off angle. And it's keeping the breach off of C entirely. But YFP are not convinced. They're not yet committed. They also have not gone through garage, right? There's still a trap wire in there, so they've not cleared that. This would not be remotely a split. And Glyph's in a good spot just to take a kill and fall off this position.
Welly being pushed up over there in A long is allowing Ambrosia to mostly play towards the proper side of the map now. But actually, Shondex feels like he, I don't know, needs to run away. Glyph needs to get one and get out here. Oh my god.
How about zero?
That's, yeah, zero, not ideal. Less ideal than one.
And again, like they just don't have current information. Look at the camera setup. It's for that sort of B wrap. That's something that we never really saw B-Dog commit to. He was just holding a passive line, never really walked into that Cam's area of influence whatsoever. Now, Willie has to give himself up here, or at least give away the game. And he's the one with the util that could light this side up, at least for some sort of retake. He's got to push past that. Good fault line. Great catch on towards Thief. B-Dog's able to trade out, though, now tucked in the corner. A 2 versus 2. Jake's healthy, though. Clears that bolt. And then gets eyes. Now we know his cubby's been taken up there by Welly. B-Dog just whipped around on that one. Not sure he finds a headshot. And that's that for Akari. He's going to have to walk away. Ambrosia really try and signal strength at the start of this round with that push into A lobby wire. And unfortunately, their fortunes never really favor them.
Now their economy is back to a really tough spot. This is out of their own timeout. And now they're going to have to eco on the second last round of the half. I think they began to overthink that situation when YFP went for the noise cut. Welly was pushed up all the way in A main. Wasn't taking any contact whatsoever. But they still felt that there was going to be a rotation from YFP elsewhere. That, you know, they had good eyes on B.
That goes there.
YFP are really throwing them for a loop on this attack side. I like the way that they're calling this.
7 rounds here. And, you know, I was a bit critical of them back in, like, round 4 for not using any of that util, right? Like, the Sova was, like, face-checking A side. And realizing now that YFP are trying to actually play ahead of a lot of that util and not give anything away. They don't want to even out-drone sometimes, so they don't give away their presence. You see how it kind of works out in some occasions where you end up with these timings that the defenders are just not prepared for. But the rounds always start slow. There's always a default-esque approaches. In the previous round, we saw Ambrosia try and play aggressive on this part of the map, so Penny is a little conditioned to that.
YFP are content to just use this operator to try and find a pick over towards A long. There's this double stack from Ambrosia, but they're waiting for YFP to move forward. Oh my god, 2 shots connecting. That is crazy. B-Dog is in trouble. Has to back off temporarily.
Again, another noise cut from YFP. This always keeps Ambrosia guessing. Look at the insert over towards mid. They've got Thief set up here at B. B-Dog is deliberating now whether it's commit to A, try and flood with this breach util, or head elsewhere. Because that aforementioned util is a little bit skinny at the moment, they're going to opt to head over towards the B side of the map, the only really undefended site. It's Satellite's timing pushing out of garage could be a problem for them, but there's no longer range weapon for Satellite to make use of.
10 seconds left.
Check this. He might go and give Satellite, though, the kind of engagement he's looking for. If he commits and instead, no, plays mid-window, this is a much better answer to what Satellite is trying to do in this round. YFP with 3. Trying to play this close plant. Important fight for Glyph to win here. Make no mistake, Stella, though, just far too solid.
Oh, and B-Dog is wrapped around towards garage as well. Stun is nice to keep Ambrosia at bay. Looks like he wants to swing back sight. A risky play.
Plan for mid-window here, Wyatt. Not good for Shondex. Oh, he's lit anyway. Thief has a tramp wire on the site. And YFP in the 3 versus 4 are able to put together. They make a great call. There's players that are coming to A. Just as B-Dog is deciding whether they're going to commit to that site or not, they make the right call. And man, the wind's just blowing in their direction on this attack side.
These guys are never running into stacked sites. They're getting free plants or plants that are just damn near free on every single round that they've been able to get into the site. That was a little risky from B-Dog on the swing, but he goes 1 for 1, all good. Just feeling confident in that round.
Get out of my way.
Final attempt on the full buy for Ambrosia to get to 4.
Money's good, man. YFP building up a pretty good economy this whole half so far, so they get everything they want in this round 12. And Glyph again wins a fight here on A long. TP's away, not going to give Jake an option. Jake probably hears or realizes this, so he says, right, well, there's a chance to insert or at least set up a hit on this site. Penny has an op in hand, and now there's a bit of a smoke in the way and a bit awkward timing. Anchors here for Ambrosia. Keep your eyes on them. Cliff turned anti-flash, caught out by the knives, and Penny's going to hit the site quickly. Cloudburst thrown down, but Welly was never truly a threat to him. His teammate B-Dog handles him quite easily. And there's a bit of a glimpse there for Satellite as he crosses past Link. He'll now know that YFP are deeply entrenched, and this is a tough situation for even the best teams to fight out of. John Lex is going to be a little bit late here. And Ambrosia are going to set up now just to try and flood for this retake with a player disadvantage.
There's a rolling thunder as well for B-Dog. This should be as good as done. It's just even going to cause so much delay.
Okay, cosmetic stun or not? Might be. Satellite's having a drop out of heaven now on a 3 versus 3, but Jake's tucked and Penny is there. What a first half here for YFP. They really have a read on Ambrosia with some off timings
Switching sides.
and just playing in a way that kind of breaks the conditioning of the defenders. Ambrosia struggled to come up with the answers.
The noise cuts were really booming them. I was going to point out at the beginning of that round, pretty big miscommunication from YFP. Glyph gets to this kill. Look at Stellar. Does he have any teammates to swing? Hell no. He goes down alone. But they cut noise, take all this free space. Penny is up close, has the op and the Blade Storm. They just pop that Paranoia Breach Splash at the same time, get right into the site, and Ambrosia are none the wiser to just how close up they already were at the choke points. It was a really solid half from YFP. Some great calling.
And now, of course, heading into the second. Ambrosia here, like some bright spots for them, I feel. Glyph at A long was able to find a couple of rounds, string together kills, especially that double with the Sheriff. Was a good look, and it gave Ambrosia a good shot. It was also been pretty good alongside Shondex with some of those seaside anchors and retake attempts.
Right here.
It's a slow start here for Ambrosia. They are basically just canvassing this A lobby area. Stella might give them what they're looking for here in time. Has already made use of that recon. And here come Ambrosia just backing off this part of the map.
Of course, it was YFP who were able to win the pistol round on the first half of this game. Ambrosia would love to even that up as they're quietly drifting back towards the mid and C side of the map. Looking like they want to go into this C split. They're going to have to deal with the Cypher utility backside if that is their end game.
I mean, Stella's going to walk out on this eventually. He has to go and try and see what is up. This is glacial pace here for Ambrosia. I mean, Stella, he hears it all now.
He knows, he's aware the rotations are coming. Thief is going to feel a lot of pressure back site. But Jake should be there to assist. 25 seconds on the clock. Ambrosia, they need to go now.
Trips here are going to cut people off if they try and play towards log. Oh, Thief very hard by that as he tries to get away from that aftershock. Jake's still here on the side. Big Paranoia gives him a free kill. But Blitz's going to be there to trade it out as now he hits the backside himself.
10 seconds
Recon
left.
thrown out, nobody pinged by it. Satellite trying to play ahead. Penny able to deal with him. Here comes the plant now in the dying seconds of the round. No chance to interrupt this, but it's all going to be down to B-Dog in a 1 versus 2, and it's short-lived. Eventually, Ambrosia decides to send it to C, and even with that info that Stella gets, it's not quite enough for YFP to be there in time.
Yeah, they do a great job forcing Thief out into the open. He didn't have a cage for that right side of default site from his perspective, so he just eats that aftershock, has to run out in the open. Shot down, Glyph, instant trade onto Jake, who would have had to have been the hero then in that instance for YFP. Can't be. That was well done from Ambrosia. They were in a really tough spot with YFP getting all that info off Stellar's push up into lobby, but they make the best of the situation.
Forced out of A-Long is Stellar because of that recon, but it's a very light hold for YFP on that A side of the map. To compensate, YFP push up for info here at C. And B-Dog is going to have himself that orb there. So YFP convert their 2-player position here and they're taking any damage. Surely this is going to get you thinking about the A side of the map though if you're Ambrosia. And Stella kind of knows it. Happy to give it up and be forced to play for retake.
All right, plant going to go down. It's all classics for YFP, so we'll see if they can do any damage here. Ambrosia, of course, looking to get the cleanest win they can here, get a nice bonus round going, get some momentum started on their attack side to try and make a run at this game, make the comeback a reality.
Dog has a crack at it. Stella's up there in heaven, but YFP are not really invested in giving away any more ult orbs by the looks of things. They're already able to get one for themselves this round with that push up C, and that seems like it's enough for them. B-Dog was hoping for more. They're really playing for as early a rolling thunder as is humanly possible. Big flip behind the box. This, though, does expose Acme to some degree of risk. He's happy to take that, apparently. As the Marshal will be handed over, but YFP don't want that. They'll hit the site, they'll perish to the blast, and we'll get on with their lives.
All things considered, not too bad for Ambrosia. Shondek's going to have to buy up. Just had the ghost into that one. But they've got a real opportunity to get back into the game now. This is, of course, an elimination game in the lower bracket. I mean, we're looking at the top 4 teams here, and it just couldn't be any more different from the top 4 of stage 1. It is pretty crazy. You got Ambrosia, Burger Boys, YFP. None of them were at this point earlier in the year. Ambrosia making a few roster moves into stage 2, and they have completely paid off.
Yeah, we sort of wondered how they'd bounce back after Screwface sort of passed the roster. And look like they had a decent little, bit of chemistry to work with. But then, of course, they were in promo relegation, had to sort of fight to stay in challenges after that middling or pretty average stage 1. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. These teams are really developed. Good to see the death out of this region. B-Dog there finds himself a trade. The bonus round here for Ambrosia. YFP have just sort of been able to pick them apart as they gain some progress here across the map. Penny has no good reason to show himself here.
Have some honest deathmatch over on B. What a shot from Shondex. Now, hold on. All of a sudden, this round is so winnable for Ambrosia. They can convert this bonus. Akrian still has a solid amount of utility, but lit up. He is spammed down. Shock threats coming through from Welly to get someone off the spike.
That's the perfect answer to the Guardian play. That little double swing. Stella's able to find 2 in the end of the round. As far as bonuses are concerned, Ambrosia not too unhappy. They get a plant. They take 3 guns away from YFP. B-Dog, though, might be eyeing off a Rolling Thunder this round just to keep that momentum going. They might require them, though, to play a bit aggressive towards this A side.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really one of the simplest rounds of Valorant you'll see. I'm not going to lie. B-Dog just kind of holding the angle back on. Someone walks into B, kills them. Another person walks into B, kills them. And then because he killed them, he gets traded. It's just very by the numbers Valorant.
Oh, we talked about it coming in. These compositions were very salt of the earth, honest day's work, punch in, punch out Valorant with our breach Sova compositions.
Taken out.
And the move off of the weird raised look that we saw YFP on previously. Here it is, knocking on A's door. Stella into the side already. Cyber Cage here, obscuring things from view, and he takes the timing. It's perfect. Traded out, but still got his Bucky value. Make no mistake. Stella and Jake know they're going to get busy now as these dark covers expire. Oh, Jake! God, the wind really is blowing in YFP's direction in so many of these situations. The timing could have been perfect. It was just a millimeter off. And here goes Satellite now going to work on the defenders. B-Dog's able to find an extremely long range. What?
No.
What is this thing doing?
Don't die to fall damage. Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay. I thought he was about to jump out and die to fall damage. I'm not going to lie. Which, well, he should have just let him do that because I think that was about to happen. Regardless,
how do you even get 2 consecutive bullets to hit someone with a stinger at that range? I would love to know.
You can't be letting B-Dog get that kill when you're on the long orb. Come on, bruh. You can't be letting that happen. Can we 0.25x speed that one? YFP not committing to the buy, by the way. They just, use what they can. Get that rolling thunder off.
Got a bucket, got a stinger. Between the bucket and stinger, that's 3 kills. That's gaming.
Now recognizing the economic situation, Penny has gone for this outlaw. Has a couple targets that he can one-shot.
Yeah, reasonable enough call. I mean, Penny not really in a position to get much more than this, so.
Is pretty low on money. Here comes the rolling thunder from the attacking side. Penny would love to get out of here, but that is not going to happen. Love this position from Stellar, though. 1 for 1, but he's going to need a lot of help. Ambrosia are going to want to swarm onto him.
So dependable from this spot Stellar is. Looks like they're actually just trying to pretend he's not there. Smoke got thrown down by Jake to try and help Stellar out, and it works, but eventually Shondex is going to come at him from behind. Against Stellar, like he gets moving at just the right time. Welly, though, was ready for that push up, and look, it's a tough part of the map to retake at the best of times. Ambrosia here, though, that's really backbreaking for YFP. That's the kind of round they gamble on to get themselves decent weapons back. B-Dog, with that Rolling Thunder, eventually that gets expended. And the fact that Ambrosia win that, just with the Thunder of their own, they get the Outlaw picked up. It's been an uncomfortable money situation for YFP in general. So now they've got a game plan for round 19.
You can see on attack that Satellite is really starting to heat up now, feeling himself, having opportunities to actually take the fight to the opposition, not just being put in some awkward retakes like he was on defense, not really getting too many opportunities. Now he's just creating opportunities. Like when they get into that A site there, he pushes that extra step, takes the fight into spawn, gets another kill. Starting to take over the game here on attack. I mean, they're still down by 3 rounds. It is 7-10, but feels like they're right back in it. They are right on the cusp of tying this up.
It definitely feels like we've just... that's a round that's worth 2. That previous
it's that
one
moment there from Satellite, where he just gets another.
And Stella has a really good just sense about when to make the push up out of sewer, especially with Shondex wrapping around to try and clean him up. But Welly doesn't really have anywhere else to look instead of at sewer, so he's just holding that line. Let's get with the program, though. Round 18. 3 rounds in it, but it's a bit deceptive, folks, because Ambrosia have really built ahead of steam. They have the momentum, economically looking really good. Conversely, YFP are still going to go with the stinger buy for Stella. Again, if he wants to play around sewers, it sort of makes sense, but he'll have to decide where to put himself on his A side of the map as the lone YFP player present there.
B-Dog wants to try and find a timing, just jiggling out of garage, feels confident enough to walk down mid. Cam hasn't spotted him. Glyph hasn't spotted him either, but what can you really do with the ghost that time? He does have to break the cam. B-Dog does have to run, and it looks like Ambrosia want to hit the gas into C.
Satellite touches down, spotted out by Penny, but not much he can do about it. Here's that Hunter's Fury now. Feet trying to dance among it, but Willie's found a connection. And this is Ambrosia just making sure that they are absolutely pitch perfect in a round where YFP have been looking very dangerous on this map. They don't quite know where Stella is, but Stinger Gaming is about to reign supreme, get the guy his kill. All things considered, though, it's clean enough for Ambrosia's liking. It's a 2-round game. They've got a lot to work with weapon-wise.
You hate to be running into the team that's catching all this momentum on a comeback, economy out of control, on attack. Your back is going to begin to feel like it's up against the wall. This is Ambrosia on a 5-1 run after the side swap. Penny hoping that picking up the operator is going to be an answer to the YFP woes on defense. We'll see how they try to set up around that weapon.
What a devastating roll. Hunter's Fury. All too easy for Satellite to find the player stuck in the corner after being lit. So, defense side up here on the A side of the map, not out of the ordinary. But a smoke that actually kind of shuts that strategy down entirely and also just hides what Ambrosia are doing on the A side of the map. So, unfortunate for YFP.
YFP have given up so much of the map that Stellar has to drone reclear B all the way from the A side link. Look at the position of YFP right now. They are as passive as it gets. Stellar, what a connection on the Satellite, though. That's mental. Well, now they can play as passive as they like. Time for a 5-on-4 retake. Just sit and spawn, why don't you?
He's not in the same postcode as Ambrosia, and look at the way he's playing. If he doesn't have information about what's happening at B or A suicide, he just plays back into his spawn. Unreal game sense. I mean, and that statement is reinforced by the Hunter's Fury finding a tag straight away and turning it into a kill. The play was outside of garage, for God's sake. Speaking of garage, that's where the action is now. Pitter-patter, little feet, as Ambrosia trying to decide here if they hit C. Look at this trap-wise. It's very awkward actually set up for a flood out of this part of the map. Could definitely play off this, but Thief in the corner as his trap's turned off, as he himself is put down. And when the rubber hits the road, it's Ambrosia that have the better quality.
That is a triple stack up from YFP denied. Can B-Dog find a way back into the site right now? He catches Welly, but the swing is good with the crouch, and Penny doesn't even get an opportunity to fire a shot with that operator that he was waiting to purchase out of the YFP timeout. Ambrosia are absolutely back in this game. Look at the state of their money right now. It is out of control. YFP will never have the opportunity to get an anti-eco round.
If you run this round back 10 times, I think 7 or 8 times, you don't get a result that looks like this. There's a triple stack for YFP on that C side of the map with 2 trap wires.
It's just
one of them
Thief
set
going
up
down.
to deny the flood, but somehow Thief is just in the perfect spot to be picked up by Satellite, and all that gets turned off.
He just swings out alone in that moment from logs. There isn't a trade for him. So disastrous. YFP were fully in control, had the opening kill, had the read on the site that was going to be hit. They need to keep their heads in the game now. They know that, again, despite, sure, at this point it's only 1 round, but they've been in the lead, but it is now squandered. This should be an Ambrosia round win. It should be 10-10. They know that they're down economically. And they've lost all the momentum.
Do I check this? Yeah, it's tough to go for this spot. Jake's going to get his one, but that is it. And it came at the cost of losing Thief on the site. Which again means any utility he had deployed is now useless. You're probably not swinging off that, though, if you have traps, in fairness. Good fault line, catching onto the planter, but neural theft here is going to make it a bit easier for Ambrosia. No surprises now for the attack side team. They've evened up the game. And their economy is utterly maxed out.
You could see Satellite just flowing with confidence there. Acreon would have loved to have gotten another one of those kills instead of him, but will be happy to win the round. He was tossed that spike, finds one of the final 3 YFP players, and is now just 1 orb away from a Rolling Thunder. And that is a win con that Ambrosia can play to here, try and collect an early orb. And this round could be worth 2 if they win it. And that Rolling Thunder would be the best ult in play if they can find him that orb.
Della backed off. Again, this is pretty standard stuff. This sort of somewhat shallow smoke from Ambrosia denies the op play or the presence of that Sova. Stellar has been incredible this game, but Ambrosia playing in such a way as to really deny that early round info game that Sova wants to sort of embark on. And they are covered this A site. This is not what YFP want. Why? This is disastrous for them. Having to go for a full retake on the A site in the Hail Mary round where they actually have money to work with. And their ultimates, honestly, not the most compelling in terms of solving this particular problem. Rolling Thunder comes out from Ambrosia here, slowing YFP up further.
I mean, hell, at this point, do you even consider saving? There's barely any time left. Stunned again. Jake does find one. Do they try to commit? They might just all die to the spike even at this point, man.
I mean, they've got to go. They've got to be looking for something. I think at this point,
They just can't.
in for a penny, in for a pound. You're still playing up by Heaven's side here. Fear Dog's able to find one. It's out. Acreon in hell.
What's another death?
And only just mid YFP. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, they commit to it, Wyatt. And they probably knew it was done, but it took them so long to get their ducks in a row on Heaven.
They were close, but you could just feel that they were going to be so cooked by the time at the end. Because that Rolling Thunder came in, because then on the attempts to get in after the Rolling Thunder, they're stunned yet again by the hell position. I love that from Glyph, getting that cheeky teleport to get the man advantage and then fall away. Fair attempt considering how little time they had, but that has put YFP right on the edge of this loss. Ambrosia have taken full control of this game. They're on an 8-1 run since the side swap.
Might have been the right call to save there. All they've done is try and keep Ambrosia honest money-wise, but they have so much of it. They really don't suffer as a result of losing all their rifles in that previous round. Okay, Penny! Straight through the smoke. Apparently with a Blade Storm, YFP, they'll end up getting traded evenly, but Stella's out of timing here, and the Stinger goes to work. And he doesn't give Ambrosia an opportunity to exchange frags there. But Acreon might be good for a break here. Never expects the second. And that's the spike loose. How does Drake gain this to his advantage? Glyph does have ultimate. And he'll be snapping up that spike in a moment.
Just goes right back into B. Jake thinks he's going to teleport to A. What is happening, man? The double from
gamble.
the shadows.
It's just a gamble. He knows that's going to happen,
gambling.
right?
Yep. Image of the guy mining diamonds. Keep gambling.
Oh, no. That's a heartbreak, folks. YFP, 2 very close rounds. Two rounds, but realistically, they could have won, if not for a couple of seconds, one way or the other. But Jake has no choice here but to make a bit of a gamble to one of the extremity sites. Glyph, though, I mean, he's played Knifey Spoony before, Wyatt. He just stays at B. That's
And he gets
extremely
two
based.
Bladestorm kills blind. But that's why YFP also ripping their ults into that. They use the Bladestorm and they use the Rolling Thunder. I'm not mad at them for doing it. Penny got that first kill. Let's go for this round win. But things devolve towards the end. There's too many individual fights. Thief is going to regret going for that peak, dying in the 3v2. Things tragically collapse, and now YFP have none of those big resources left to actually expend on their full buy round. Not one ultimate to their name. Welly has the Hunter's Fury. This is looking tough. Ambrosia want to get into this C site.
All right, there is that Hunter's Fury now. You can see you heading towards the back part of Garage. Thief's already gotten onto the side, though, but again, somehow on the move. Satellite seems to be more accurate. B-Dog is down to 45 here. Shock Dart is going to miss, and there's an outro for the attack side going to clear out Garage. They're going to know. And Jake is set up there looking to make his push. It's a good timing here for Penny. This one gets a little bit closer. The money there for Ambrosia is fine. They're going to plan in this round. They're still looking okay for the next. It's YFP need to hold on with everything they've got. Acreon wants to make this costly for them. If the defenders are going to have a defuse, but even that's not guaranteed. It could be the map here and now. It's up to Penny. They've already lost all but one of their rifles. Still disastrous for YFP. Acreon mows them down for 4. Ambrosia. It's a 9-3 halftime score, and they surge back into the lead. Shell-shocking their opponents. I mean, if I'm YFP, I have head in hands right now.
That, it was an insane